behind us here is a place called Lake Point, where Argentine commandos first landed. You can see it clearly from this point on Sapper Hill. And they then moved behind us over the hill to blow up the Royal Marine Barracks at Moody Brook, which thankfully by then the Royal Marines had already evacuated, so they blew up the buildings with nobody in them. Looking over this landscape here, you can see the sort of terrain that was part of where the final area where the yomp that the Royal Marines and the Paras made across the islands, which ended up being between 80 and 100 miles in total. This was the final sort of route they took before heading into Stanley after they'd fought all the battles. This is the sheep shearing shed at Goose Green, and after the battle ended here, the Argentine prisoners were kept in these buildings for some time afterwards, and you're talking about 12 to 1,400 prisoners they took here.
And what were the conditions here for them? Were they well looked after?
I mean, nothing fancy. It's just it's a basic shed, but it was shelter from the cold winter weather, which then was almost midwinter, so it wasn't pleasant to be outside, and they were, at least they had cover here, and it was better than nothing, that's for sure.
And what about the other situation? What about the locals who were held prisoner by the Argentines? How were they treated?
Well, I mean, they had a very difficult time. They were imprisoned in this one building, 115 people for 29 days. As time went on, they actually the conditions improved slightly, but it must have been a horrible and frightening experience for them. They never really knew what was going to happen to them at any time. This is the Argentine cemetery near Darwin.
When was this opened?
Well, it was built, or at least it was built. You can say shortly after the war, but not in the configuration it's in now. It was just a very sort of simple. Well, the white fence that's around the front was all the way around the whole cemetery. Yeah.
Is this the most popular site for the families when they come over?
Yes, the Argentine families. Yes, yeah, they all want to come here. Yeah.
How many people are buried here?
There are remains of 235
of
bodies.
Of how many in total?
Well, that's a good point. I mean, the Argentines themselves accept a figure of, I think, 650 something, I think. But, I mean, it's sort of generally believed that it could be a higher figure than that.
Why was this site chosen for the Argentine cemetery?
I don't think this exact site. I think it was just somewhere near. Obviously, Goose Green was one of the biggest land battles here. It's a central location on the islands that I think they just probably thought here was as good as anywhere, but they did choose on the reverse side of this hill, I believe, so that it was a little way from Goose Green. People living at Goose Green wouldn't be sort of directly looking at this cemetery every day. It's tucked away a little bit over the hill.
Tell me the words that we see on the black marble slate. What does it say?
Well, most of these unmarked ones say Soldado Argentino solo conocido por Dios.
And that means?
Argentine soldier known only to God, I think that's right.
So no one's ever claimed the remains, no families come? No,
and actually one of the sort of sad things that happens is when the relatives come, of course, if they don't find their actual relative, I mean, I have seen them where they sort of adopt a grave, they'll just choose one grave, and that's probably the best they can do, it's pretty sad, but that happens.